Recap of my week. Well, last week I was on vacation, and I have to say this is probably the first real vacation I've had in a decade. Uh, like
Which is
my
insane, Matt.
like my team didn't interrupt me. Like no questions came out. There was one ask Monday. I had to take one sales call with one of our larger clients. So I will consider that one outlier, and the rest was all like I was able to actually go 4 days, and the team didn't need me at all.
Yeah,
So that was really cool.
that is really cool.
That's
Four
kind of
day,
the
4 days is short though.
well, we were gone for more than that. I'm counting the Monday as the day that I had the sales call, so I
Yep.
can't count that as a day off technically. And then the weekends, hopefully my team isn't bothering me too much on weekends ever. Like that does occasionally stuff pops up, but
Yep.
yeah. And then came into a very intense week of sales strategy and really growth focused items. It was a interesting week for me. I will get more into it for sales. I didn't book any of the meetings that were on my calendar for sales. I didn't put any of
hmm
the proposals together. I didn't do hardly any of the follow up afterwards. All I did was I had meetings staggered throughout. I got prep time and prep decks, and all I was talking about was machines and extension of teams for
Yep.
those. I think it was like 15 hours a week, where that's all I was doing. It was a really weird is the best way to describe it because it was like where I've typically known so much about the person I'm talking to prior to it, but all these were being put on my calendar, extremely vetted by my team, very well, arguably better proposals than we've ever done. And I'm involved in review prior to pitch and then verify. So
Yep.
I get brought up to speed. We review them a couple days prior. Edits happen. I go in.
Yeah.
It was a
That's
really
awesome.
weird feeling coming back after like because the team just executed the week while I was gone, getting all the stuff prepped for a week of that being slow.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of the feelings, and it was very similar the rest of the week for a lot of the other things from reviewing contracts to paperwork to marketing stuff. It just honestly felt like
Yeah.
we need input on this. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling where I typically was pushing more. Now the team's just yanking me forward, which is a really cool feeling.
Yeah. I I have a phrase that I always remind myself of in hiring, which is that you can't push on a rope. And the idea is that like everybody in such a small organization has to be a stick, not a rope, where
Yeah.
you can pull it or push it. And like primarily the staff should be pushing you and you should be the obstacle. And then when you see you're the obstacle too much, eliminating yourself wherever you can, which candidly you've done a better job yourself than I have in the time we've done the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be dumb luck, or maybe I just had some really good hires here. I don't know, but yeah, it's been an interesting feeling kind of getting into this different role, if you will, as the
Yeah.
company's growing. But
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I remember that book I encouraged you to read that you did a long time ago, the Dan Martell one,
yeah.
Buy Back Your Time. I
Hmm.
read that again. Um, and the long story short is I'm all in on the EA train. I'm trying to get an assistant in person now because like did a little time tracking and the amount of time I'm like in my email or I pick up a sales call or I'm in the Shopify inbox response is just ridiculous.
I didn't realize how many things I was actually, or opportunities I was missing because of that. Because Trish has been with us for 4 months now.
Hmm?
She took over a pile of general EA things, but then also took on more things as I learned her capabilities. Like she has been slammed for 4 months
Right.
and just cruising stuff forward. I will say it took me, like I said, I think on another podcast, was it took me a year to find her. I was very specific in what I was looking for, and it just took a while. But
Yep.
I think it's one of those where be patient because I don't know if I'd want to have to replace that role after the onboarding because it's one of those that's not only intensive of them getting the amount of flexibility and tasks they're doing, it's also a very, I don't know if personal role is the
It
right way
is,
to put
yeah.
it, but like they get everything in your box. There's a level of trust, there's a level of privacy that goes with that role.
Yeah, like I had the virtual assistants, I think like 8 of them,
Oh
and
my
every single
gosh.
time they were awesome at first, and then they would, if you didn't like hold them accountable constantly, they would like stop working, and they would start working like multiple jobs. And I just never came back to it until I built all these like AI systems. Like we have a system that like scrapes my email feed for like things that we missed, and I was seeing that my system, like even with the systems perfect, everything's still breaking because I just need a human there who can keep track of all this stuff because I can't keep the amount of deals and the amount of stuff in my head anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right where I was when it made the most sense to layer in EA as well, where like I had augmented or used AI so much to avoid filling that
Yeah.
role because it was one of those I think I was reluctant for too long. I'll own it. And then it was also just the finding the right person that took longer. So I just had to continue to augment for until, like you said, stuff was break.
Well, like I tried to just not have an EA, and even now I spend like 2 to 5 grand a month on AI credits, on just tons of services, APIs, MCP servers, and um,
Yeah, you could hire somebody.
well, the problem is like those systems now the business like runs on those systems. Like without like the vibe coded ERP, like none of the growth would have been possible. And so it's like even with all this stuff making everything so much better, it's still breaking because it's just, at the end of the day, I need another person who can like solve a problem in a way that AI can't,
Yeah.
unprompted.
And I like the line you said there about keeping the human in the loop. That's the big thing we talk about a lot at Develop when we're building AI projects. Like, oh, we can take this from I'm like, no, no, no. That is
Yep.
not how this is gonna work here. You need the human there constantly auditing because it'll just do goofy stuff.
Yeah. It
So
depends a lot on the model, and that's one thing too. I encourage, like, if you business owners, and I would encourage you, Matt, is like, try Fable, try Manus, like try some of the high end models because they're
well,
so night and day from like Opus.
well, that's all I'm using now is Fable.
Yeah,
Like it costs more, but who cares?
yeah, that's where.
Like, yeah. What is your cost in AI looking like it's gonna be this year? I'm assuming you've ran that trend.
Yeah, and I'm trying to cut back on it, and basically, we spent a ton in Manus, Replit, and Claude, and in we have different softwares built on different ones depending on how important it is. The big thing that I'm trying to do is migrate most of that stuff to Claude, not necessarily to host, but to edit, with the theory being I can get the cost down.
Yeah.
Um, that said, I pretty much only use Fable, and like, I've been on AI while I'm on this marketing kick, which I'll talk about in a bit. I've, you know, been in AI the last, 24 hours from like 12 of them. And, I blew through my Fable limit on the 20x max plan, and then I blew through the
Well, it
first
doesn't.
$100 in credits I bought, and then I blew through the second $100 of credits I bought.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
that doesn't take much though, because I've like
yeah,
there's been days where like if you have more than one chat going and you're highly engaging with Fable, you're gonna burn through it.
yep.
So,
So,
what's your trend for the year? What are you forecasting for AI spend? Because I was just running our review of PL of what I had forecasted for the year, and I'll share mine once.
if I just had to throw a guess out there, like 20 to 30 grand. Yeah.
We're about the same. We're trending towards probably just over 20,000, so you'll probably be higher. But I was just curious because
Yeah.
I was doing a forecasting review of our dues and subscriptions, and I'm like, all right, we need to split this up between CAD packages, AI, and everything. This is a junk
Right.
drawer,
Yeah.
but yeah. Either way, I think that was my week. What about Michael's week?
Oh man. I mean, we had just had such a kick-ass June, and that kind of happens like every like start of the quarter and end of the quarter, especially the end of the quarter. And June people are ending their fiscal years as well.
Hmm.
Um, and we hadn't put a lot of input into our marketing, but it was just more volume than we could keep up with. And I did turn our ad spend down quite a bit. And then I also kind of just got on the shop floor and just focused on systems and operations. And I'm glad I focused on systems and operations, but I do wish I wouldn't have turned the ad spend down. I turned it back up because like you can catch up on being late, but you can't make up for sales that didn't happen. And that's something that I think is a real lesson I've gotten this week.
Okay.
So generally all of June I was just operations, and I've fully 180'd now that I feel like operations is running smoothly, and we're not super behind on everything anymore. That said, like I've gone all in on marketing and sales again, and I got to learn to find like a happy medium. I'm really bad at it, Matt.
The I I actually like the focus because I've done the same thing, Michael. I think when you're small, that's a portion of it. You focus, focus, focus because you need that. Where I've gotten to over the last, I'd say 4 to 12 months, let's say, is I block days or I block time on my calendar where, all right, this is my sales time for certain tasks that I do every week. This is my blocked time for doing marketing aspects or reviewing certain things. This is where people can book meetings for me to be in sales. Uh, I'm starting, the one thing I'm rolling back in is I need to have a minimum of 4 hours that's strategic, like strategy
Yep.
time and growth focus of, reviewing our lending story, prepping for the bank. What are we doing about this building edition? Like,
Right.
what are the actual trigger events? Like, I would lean towards, I don't know if you're there yet, because I think you're going through a lot of the same stuff I went through over the last couple of years. And I think you're looking at it the same way I did. So I don't know if that's right or wrong, but
Yeah.
it does work. Um, and then find those buckets in the future. Maybe you just start that.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen more growth out of myself as like a business owner this year than ever before, and it's weird seeing that mindset shift from like, oh, I'm doing this because it's really cool, and now it's like, what are the numbers? What's the market viability? What's the margins? What does the supply chain look like? And like I'm almost like I would bore the hell out of myself a couple years ago, but that's what you learn.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot more people that are depending upon you at this point. So there's a different level of accountability that occurs.
And our product mix is just so complicated. Like we have 100 SKUs. We have a software that we're launching to our turnkey direct customers. We have um, there's just so much there to manage at this point. And the like we ran into the issue a couple weeks ago. Like our vendors stopped delivering on time because we don't have a dedicated like purchasing person. And so then I jumped in and I like fixed the purchase ordering system so that you like have to generate a PO through the ERP. And while that's great, like all of my time, like you said for you, well, you said 4 hours, a 4 hour block, but to me, I think really 100% of my time should be going to something I'm like really good at. That maybe I could hire someone to do, like marketing, or like I could hire an Instagram guy, but I'm not going to. Um, or something that is a real problem, or is like a strategic growth thing. And I kind of just want to cut out everything else.
I think
But
that's
that's not going to happen until
yeah,
I
I'll
have
say
at
that's
least an assistant. Yeah.
well, even cutting everything else out, I think it's a visibility uh, of what you need to be looking at and digging into
Yep.
because I actually like having it where my ideal state would be I get certain blocks of things I do, but I have more free time.
Right.
That's maybe not fire drill, but I can just be pushed and pulled on the high leverage opportunities that pop up at that day or moment. That's what I'm seeing. I like time for a portion of it, but
Right.
because things just constantly flux in the business where you need to be into it. But I feel like I'm rambling.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. And like for this week, I launched like 40 different ads over the weekend. And I lowered my standards a lot of what was an ad. I'm like Instagram post ad, like video I have on my phone ad. Um, but I saw the our return on ad spend just like skyrocket, and then I paused. Now that I'm kind of like blocking more stuff out and trying to really stay laser focused on marketing, and just ask myself like, what's the highest leverage thing? And it's clearly email marketing.
I was gonna say, what's
Um,
the highest leverage thing? Yeah, okay, you beat me to it.
and so that's all I've been doing like the last 2 days is email marketing and like our abandoned cart flow to like email people when they almost check out. Um,
It's
it went from like this shitty like the Shopify default that looks awful that doesn't even have our logo on it to like this just like beautiful thing with like you can do like a 3D viewer and of a CAD mod like um just so night and day. And I look at that now and I'm like, there should have been intermediary steps. And if I would have had time to pause and breathe, like 6 months or a year and a half ago, I would have done this earlier.
yeah. I think that's actually interesting because we've been doing the workflows and automation, and the the marketing guy that we hired, what now, he started 3 weeks ago. That's one thing that he's saying is one of our most under leveraged. He's like,
Yep.
you do a lot in HubSpot, but he's like, we still have so much more we for this company by focusing on that. That's interesting. I'll be
Yeah.
happy to share what he starts deploying because he was talking about a lot of layers of automation he's going through to automate a lot of stuff that I've done manually based trends that he saw because I was uploading all my emails for the last year, and he's like, we can automate a lot of these trends. All right, sounds good to me.
Yeah. I mean, like for us, Clavio has been amazing. The at least for like email campaigns and drip campaigns and things like that, where maybe you're not trying to deeply track the deal flow, like someone's early stage. You can just send out so many more emails with such a clean interface. And I have it like connected via MCP where I can basically like draft and push things directly out of like Cloud or Manus.
Got it. Do you do any scraping for as that or when that lead changes in terms of like variables? So say they went from X company size, say they were a $20 million company and now they are a $50 million
Right.
company. Do you have triggers built into that?
So no. And that also isn't the way that I like split my customer personas.
It was a
It's pretty much
theoretical way.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't.
Well, but like there's really like three buckets. There's like Tumble Blast is its own bucket that may overlap with the other ones. There's our turnkey direct customers who want an integrated solution, and then there's our normal CNC hardware customers. And the problem is like the size of the shop does not necessarily dictate. Like usually a 1 to 5 man shop is almost never going to do a turnkey direct. It happens, but not often. Um, but pretty like every like major manufacturer that you've heard of probably already has a Tumble Blast, and like, but that doesn't mean they're a turnkey direct customer, right? So that's like a hard thing to.
Yeah. I was just curious, yeah, because that's what we're seeing is like needing to filter more at the top of the funnel because my calendar, the amount of leads that we have coming in needs to slow down. And so
Right.
we're trying, and like I had 13 calls, I believe, this week. Granted, some of them were secondary follow ups, some of them were initials, but I would say 20% of them weren't ready for a call.
Well, yeah, and I'll just say don't burn your funnel, right? Like broaden your funnel and and make the funnel scope down more faster.
Yeah, we're looking at how we're filtering it further. The other thing we're looking at is we just posted a business development engineer role to start bringing them in to help with this wave, if you will, rather than filter it too much now.
Yep.
We use it as training.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I have a like the place I'm focusing right now, like our turnkey direct offering is like pretty solid, and it's also harder to scale, right? Because you need like really expert staff that is kind of halfway between a mechanical engineer and a CNC apps guy.
yeah.
It like that is a hard spot to fill, and we filled it, and and we have a great process there. But you know, I can move from doing like 5 a month to like maybe if we optimize everything 10, right?
That's huge. I
And
mean, that's probably
right,
the
right.
delta between okay margin and great margin.
Sure, but like the place I'm focusing right now is just e-commerce. Like how do I scale the passive revenue and just grow our assembly team because we have the SOPs, we have the processes, and we can just make hardware. And the turnkey direct scale can come later when it's the lowest hanging fruit after the e-commerce is all built out.
That makes sense.
We kind of jumped into sales and
We
marketing.
did. Um,
Other than being overwhelmed with your funnel, what do you have for sales and marketing the last couple of weeks?
I think the one that I kind of hinted on there is the business development engineer. We just sent that off to a recruiter yesterday. It's on Indeed. We'll be posting it on LinkedIn, I believe, in the next day or two here. So if anybody's listening that's very passionate about manufacturing and helping manufacturers grow through automation, might be worth messaging me directly. But that's one of them. The marketing person that we hired out of the UK is going to be on site for the next 2 weeks. So he's coming in this weekend. He'll be here all next week and the following. He's going to be doing some road trips with me. So physical site visits, getting him hands-on experience there. And more or less, he's been in the first 3 weeks, and next week he said he's pitching on the 10th to me what the new marketing plan is. I'm excited
Got
to
it.
see what that is. I don't know what he's been teasing me a little bit with little hints based on questions that he has, but I'm quite excited to see what he says because everything I've seen out of working with him on the agency level for several years, I think it's going to be fun to see the marketing change because I've probably been looking at it wrong because I'm not a marketing expert.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and there's always that tension of like, where do you become an expert? What do you hold on to? And, you know, who you hire, like you aim for that maybe 80% quality of what you could do, but then sometimes you're blown away and you get someone who's like way better at whatever thing than you would ever be.
yeah, based on what I'm seeing in HubSpot, and my calendar getting slammed in the first 3 weeks because he's been building the plan in
Right.
parallel. I'm quite excited, but we're still in honeymoon
Yep.
phase with a new team member. So, as
Yeah.
my wife always reminds me, Matt, don't make any judgments for 90 days, no matter which way you're leaning. So,
Yeah. I mean, like the biggest thing this year has taught me in general is like marketing matters more than everything. Like, yeah, you got to have a good product, right? But I think I said this before. Like, if you can choose between great marketing and a great product, obviously you want both. But if one just has to be good, it should be marketing and not the product. And the I think that we were there for a long time with kind of good in both. Um, and I think a decent portion of our product lines are finally at the great point. But I have been very guilty of like slamming on the accelerator and then slamming on the brakes on marketing in like cyclical cycles. And that's something I've got to figure out how to stop doing.
I think what I liked about that is you're, like you said, focusing on the marketing. What I think marketing does also, Michael, is it helps you make that great product
Right.
because there's no better feedback than getting on a sales call and having somebody tell you they don't understand what you're trying to sell them.
Yep.
They don't understand the value prop. They have serious questions or concerns. And then over years of refining the way you deliver it, or maybe the service, the way it's executed, the product, all of a sudden stuff starts clicking. Like, I don't know. I feel like rather than building in a echo chamber a great
Right.
product, it's like just go get beat up on your theory.
Well, that's what our beta programs are, right?
Yeah.
Like we always eat losses on them, and it's kind of the agreement is like we will fix it. If it's messed up, if it doesn't do the thing, we'll give you your money back. And the it lets us do like the minimum viable product thing without actually like taking the market risk of doing that.
I think that's awesome approach. It's a thing that I think almost every engineer is terrified to do though.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But whew,
Your
um,
sales and marketing?
well, I've had like definitely an uptick in the number of sales calls, not like a huge uptick like you have. The biggest thing I've noticed is like since um, we have like implemented this new proposal methodology and can show like glimpses of our software behind the scenes. The like just 2 or 3 steps out of the sequence, our close rate has gone up a lot. And
What's your close rate percentage?
I would have to check, but like, and it depends on what you're counting as a lead, right? So like the other week, I had somebody book a CNC automation assessment, and then they like brought up a part on the camera, and it was like a part that clearly was like sheet metal, and they're talking about the tumble blast, and I was like, these are for like $20,000 to $30,000 integrations. Like, can you call our sales line, please? Right. So like, it's in the funnel, like if you like in the HubSpot deal flow, but obviously it's not a real lead. Um, Out of the real leads, it's getting up to like 50%. And the
Wow. Okay.
and that probably tells us that we're not charging enough.
Yeah, there's something there that's
I
interesting.
mean, we have just such a unique product offering too. Like no one else is really offering like a full automation ecosystem that doesn't cost 6 figures.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't. That's an interesting because I don't know if I would generally say just increase your prices anymore because I think you found
right.
a good margin there. Maybe you're just the system's tuned and 50% is the new conversion. That's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. And then like you try to grow the top. But like I mentioned, I'm trying to make right now I'm not even so much trying to grow the funnel. Like I did turn up our ad spend a lot. I did launch a bunch of new ads, so I guess that's not entirely true. But in general, the big thing I'm trying to do is like once someone is into the system, to better and more continually engage with them to so they don't forget about us, right? Um, Turning one automated welcome email into like a full professional conversion driven like email sequence.
Exactly. Okay. I like that because bringing customers on board
Yeah.
can be very clunky if it's not automated.
Yeah.
And
And I already see like now that I'm diving email thing just how complicated it's going to be. Like we just redid our phone system, and I was looking at the flow chart that Priscilla made in Just Call, our phone system, and it was like 500 branches. Like you have to, it's just this like ridiculously complex mapping, and I see that happening with the email flows pretty soon here.
how'd you decide on just call? Because we have Nextiva as an old legacy line, and
Yep.
I'm like, it kind of sucks. It's so dated.
Yeah. Um, we thought we hated it for like the last 6 months, and it turns out that we just had like these edge cases the way we built our workflow where it would drop calls or do something stupid. Um, Now that that's fixed, I love it.
Okay.
Um, and the big thing, like we turned on call recording, and that gives you an ability to reference something, and
Well,
rather than just
so you actually call everything through that line because we'll use our HubSpot to actually do the recording, keep everything in HubSpot.
well that's for inbound, right? I'm not doing a lot of outbound in general.
Okay. I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
like pretty much everything right now is inbound. And the place that I'm focused on scaling is really the product side of the business until I really, honestly, probably to an extent, until I find another CNC apps guy who can help supplement and take over more of those projects so we can expand on that front. That's such a hard spot to find. I mean, yeah,
I think that took us, what, 4 months to fill it, and the person couldn't start for three, so 7 month gap.
yep,
Yeah, I mean, and the interesting thing there is we just were in the process of building a machine, and we were just at a resource meeting where a customer we spent just south of 50 grand with. They're late on delivery, so it's going to cost us far more than 50 grand for these machine components. Like, I really want a much bigger mill right now, so we could have made those
yeah,
parts.
yeah. That's like a dangerous game though.
Yeah, it's
Um,
coming down to how many of these machines do we need to build over the next couple of years is going to
right.
drive that decision. It's not based on one data point.
Yeah, I mean the thing to think about too is just like the workload on the organization of managing the person to do the task and all the problems that come in that process. And versus the management of an an OSP, like an outside vendor.
Yeah, the
Because
the problem we have there is like we order so much custom stuff that the management level's
right.
still high. The procurement, like it's not like we're saying, "Hey, make this SKU again," that we've already vetted you as a supplier. It's always something new, and then there's the risk that we have to modify
Oh yeah.
during build. So that's a different equation we're running as we scale.
Well, I mean, like we're launching new revs all the time. And usually those like sub rev launches are silent, right? It's this like little tweak that makes the um like, something engage better. Like a keyway sits more precisely than it did before.
Hmm.
So we're like constantly throwing rev changes at our vendors, and most of the ones who couldn't keep up with that ended up getting dropped. But I assume the dollar value going to each vendor on each PO for what I'm doing is much lower than you having these giant machined components. Because most of our stuff fits within a 3 by 3 inch cube.
Yeah, the parts we're talking about wouldn't fit on my table.
Yeah.
Like they're giant. I think their one was like 1.25 meters by 2 or something, and we needed like 8 of them, and
Well,
they're
I'm
all
I'm familiar.
semi-custom. So,
We still have a water jet, and we had that gantry mill when we were doing contract manufacturing. So I know those big parts.
yeah, that's I don't know. It's more or less just top of mind because it came up in the resource meeting, and I have an old itch that still pops up for CNC machining.
Yeah,
But I guess
I feel
that's
that.
probably a decent segue unless you had more for sales and marketing and engineering and projects.
I mean, we could go into engineering
Did you have more sales and marketing?
probably, but honestly, I'm kind of shot this week, just from like the all in like mindset of I'm gonna do nothing but like perfect this marketing channel. Um, so I don't know that I really want to talk about it anymore, if I'm being honest.
I feel
Um,
you. Okay.
so there's a lot more. I'm just tired of marketing, and um, maybe I need to slow down a little bit there.
Well, you're up on engineering because, as always, I have 2 bullet points here, so that's not going to be much talking.
Yep. Oh, what do we got on engineering? Um, we're trying to lock down the um like the little supply chain details on the next rev of our CoolantClear 3. Um, there was like a lot of back end stuff to like improve the flow of when someone downloads a CAD model on our website. Now we we like grab their email and we email them the CAD model, and this is really cool. I wasn't able to get a 3D viewer in the email, but
That'd be wild if you had
that
a
would be
3D
wild.
viewer
But
in
what
the
I
email.
did was I took the GLB file, which is like the 3D viewable file that
You made
you
it a
can host
GIF.
online, and I made it a GIF. Yep. And I got it perfectly looping, and then I had AI do that for another like 30 products. And now when you do that email sequence, it's as if there's a 3D viewer there, and it's just so cool.
That is the nerdiest marketing thing I've probably heard today.
it was so not worth the effort, to be clear. But it is really, really cool. And yeah, there's it's been a couple weeks since we talked last, so there's got to be more. Um, I mean, we're honestly we just are doing so much on the Turnkey Direct right now. That that's like there's a lot of engineering, but I can't talk about any of it, right? Because it's all like pertaining to the individual process of customer parts.
Okay. Your engineering was lean too. This is scary for people that come
Well, I
here
told
for
you, all in
engineers.
on marketing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like the team on the floor um, has less engineering. It's just like less top of mind for me right now.
I guess I could come up with some other interesting engineering things on our floor. So, are you familiar with like Azrael feeders or any feeders for vision random picking?
I think so, yeah. Or this is just a conveyor belt for.
It's like a conveyor belt and that has like an ultrasonic shaker under it for
Oh yeah, yeah.
presenting parts.
Yep, yep.
We've got a machine that has several of those going into them. The steel plate that these things have to sit on is insane because the amount of to isolate it from the
Right.
robotics and everything else. So it's I think it's like an inch and a steel plate sitting on rubber feet, and that then gets bolted onto our frame base to just isolate it. And it's like, I would just curious. I think the steel plate was like 400 pounds per these things. So it's like, this machine is going to be heavy. So we've got several of those, 5 robots all sitting on this. And then those, I think it was like 6 or 8 these giant meter sized plates that are getting tiled together to build
Well,
this
yeah, and like
machine.
the pads on the robot, like a robot pedestal can be like 3,000 pounds on its own.
These are all small robots.
Okay, okay.
So these are all like 200 ID style, maybe a little bit bigger for one that's a little bigger. So not crazy in size, but still, I think the robot pedestals, there's one over there that they had assembled. I think that was like 300 pounds just in
Yeah.
itself, and it's for a tiny little robot.
I don't think I've told you this, but in my first company that I started, it was a startup, and we were trying to automate like investment casting, and we bought like this giant KUKA that was like 3,000 pounds,
Oh gosh.
and like the pedestal itself was 3,000 pounds, and it was just like so I've that's like my frame of reference when I think of industrial robot, not like a sanely sized reasonable payload.
Yeah, the products we're picking up are basically like this stack of sticky notes or
Yep.
smaller. So,
Yeah, that thing was built to like move car doors around, like.
oh god. Yeah. So that's been really cool to see. Also, it is the most complex machine. Like, I want to say it was like 6,000 on the custom level componentry
Yeah.
of what's going into this thing of parts. So the amount of inventory that's going on, because procurement was happening over the last month, like the amount of cars that are just individually kitted for assemblies to put this thing together is wild.
What's your head count at right now, Matt?
That's 15, right?
15?
Yep.
Do you have like a person who just does nothing but procurement?
We that's an that is not their sole role.
So
No, we
no.
have my EA rolls into
Yeah.
all PO and
Yeah.
accounting aspects of it. We then have, I guess there is a secondary person where a lot of their role is that, but then that's the accountability layer. So the accountability layer is lean. And then we have, when we go into procurement, we just spread it across the engineers that run the project so it get done faster,
Right. Got it.
is the way we go about it. So no, but we at least have a good accountability layer, because that's something we've learned the hard way is, if you don't hound some suppliers, they'll stretch how late they can delay or deliver.
Well, I mean, that's the exact problem that we've had. We had like a where is this order? And then someone pulls up the PO or like vendor Gantt chart. It's like, well, it should have been delivered 10 days ago. And we kind of saw that was happening like across way too many of our vendors. So
Yeah,
that is tough, and I get it. I've been on the other side as like a contract manufacturer of servicing the squeaky wheel, right?
yeah. The worst one I think I've ever seen is, it was like I want to say it was like a 16-week lead time component we had.
Uh-huh.
Placed the PO, they acknowledged it. We didn't get our part. Like, it was 16 weeks. We didn't get it. We're like, okay, let's
Yep.
just check it. This never went into manufacturing schedule, is what the salesperson said to us. They acknowledged it.
Oh
We
my
had that
God.
trail, and it never
Yeah.
went into manufacturing. We're like, this is a problem. Thankfully, they were able to solve it. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks, because they owned it, but that was still a 3 to 4 week hit to our critical
Right.
path. And it's like, yeah, this can't ever happen again. Like, we need a different process for verifying, receiving, verifying. We check it's in manufacturing for certain things, and then we hound them for updates.
Yep.
It's frustrating, but it has to be done.
Yeah. I think, not too far off in the future, like you're getting enough staff that having one, taking that off of that role,
Oh,
out of those, or that capacity out of those other two roles, and having someone whose entire job is just procurement,
I'd
probably makes
agree.
sense.
It's the constant theme here at Develop right now, because it's like we're so close to needing a specific role, but just not quite. And it's like, where do the dollars go for the next hire? Has
Yeah.
been the big challenge.
Something I
So,
still struggle to wrap my head around is like just doing only supply chain and procurement sounds like a personal hell to me. And there are people out there where like that is a good job and they enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I've worked with several of them. They absolutely love
yeah,
procurement and beating suppliers up.
yeah. Oh man, I hate when we on the other side of that have to deal with like, like really big corporations where they don't just have like a procurement manager, but they also have a buyer.
Yeah, and the buyer's the night it's the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Uh Other than that for engineering, we're going through I believe it's going to be revision 2 of the HMI. So I'm very excited for this architecture rebuild we're doing. I'm thinking this will be the one that lives for decades, based on what we've learned and what we're changing. For the major changes are minor in the grand scheme of what we've done, but the core architecture or flow is going to be much easier for our users, even
Got it.
though we are getting feedback that it was already the easiest to run machine they've ever ran. So I'm very excited to release this. It looks like it's going to be coming out our first machines in spring of 27. So it's still a ways out, but I will be sharing more as we get going through. Extraordinarily excited.
Yeah. Like fixing that like core flow or just having like better clarity. That's one thing that we have seen as we like reworked our sales process. It just makes it so much easier to convert customers. And for you, I think that entire thing is the HMI, right?
Yeah, we're seeing a huge value prop for the way we've approached building machines and the user experience there. So yeah, I think that's helping us. I had a sales meeting 2 weeks ago. We bid a project for this company, 21.
Hmm.
They bought from the lowest bidder. They want to decommission all the machines they bought, which is 3 machines. They're so
Okay.
unsatisfied. They've been following us, watching how we do our user experience, and management's been tasking them with solving problems that we're doing for HMIs. We have 2 site visits to go to their 2 local plants to look at the first 3 machines that could be into a larger group. Um, and this is one of several where we bid years ago that are coming full circle. It's kind of interesting that they're saying, like they flat out said in the meeting, we're willing to throw our last machines in the trash. And they weren't cheap machines
Right.
because granted we were high bid on them, but they were all north of 500,000 in those days.
Yeah.
So they still spent some good dollars. That was just it's a wild thing to hear in a meeting. Yeah, we want to
Right.
throw these away because we're so unhappy.
What's our next section? Sorry, I'm like a little zoned out.
Continuous improvements.
Uh, CIs for me, I guess the big one is our purchasing system. Like we've had the idea, and I think I've talked about this before, like this beginning to end vision of like someone marks like an item when it hits Kanban to the reorder status, and then you click on that button, and like the Kanban item, the given part number that we have internally, everything's now assigned a part number. And now there's a little button that says generate PO that only a purchasing level account has. And they hit that button and then it pre-populates a purchase order. And at that point it moves to the ordered status automatically. And
Oh, so it sends the email then when they do that?
well, so all of that now is built and it was just like theory before.
Oh, I see.
And it also automatically takes it and puts it on a Gantt chart so we can like stay on top of vendors. The next layer is adding in that email automation of like, here's your purchase order. And then, when it's maybe a couple weeks or a week away from being due, another email. When it's past due, another email. And then the layer beyond that, that's like a future thing that I want to do, but haven't really gotten to fully scoping, is a vendor portal where every vendor can like see their on-time delivery
You
percentage.
talked about basically
Yeah, yeah.
exometry for yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And like that's the long-term vision, but just having like the first most important 50% work has been huge.
It sounds really nice. That's part of Gim Command ERP basically,
Yeah.
or it is not basically.
Yeah, the next big one to tackle, and man, I don't know when we're going to do this, is PDM. because like we just need a clean
Oh,
like CAD PDM system.
yes.
Honestly, like I never really was thinking about this, a couple years ago, but like we need like a server rack now. Because like we need something to host the PDM, and honestly, like some of these AI models are so out of hand, I just want to run them locally. Um, and,
This is
and
really interesting because we're going through a new server rebuild too. They're
yeah, well, we've never
expensive
built
right now.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I imagine. Um,
Initial quote was 70,000.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll keep outsourcing it. I don't know.
But granted, we're doing some things differently. We have a couple tiers and it's getting requoted, but we are rebuilding PDM. We have to build one for uh, our Autodesk and basically a PDM for our schematics.
Mhm.
We then are building a marketing vault for cold storage
What are you
of
guys
all
using Autodesk for? I thought you were all SolidWorks.
for schematics.
Ah,
We
gotcha.
switched SolidWorks Electrical was just too
Too
much
awful.
friction. It just wasn't working. So we moved to Autodesk. That was several months ago, so that now needs to be built. It's kind of its own PDM, if you will. And there's, I guess, portion of it is segmenting the NIST compliance and having stuff separated secure. So we'll have a
Right.
different layers to that. So our old server is going to become our marketing server, and then everything new is going to go into a NIST compliance process.
Got it. Okay.
So I think our original server cost us 7 grand for context, and we built it plus time
Right.
to do it. So call it 15 grand if you hired a.
Got it. Okay. Um, Food for thought. Any other CIs from your end?
We killed Fireflies.
Oh,
We
really?
are now on Otter.
Okay. Why'd you make that call?
So we were using Fireflies for specific people on the team.
Hmm.
We decided we were rolling out meeting recording company wide for everything.
Yep.
There's some security issues with Fireflies. So
Got it.
while they claim to be the most secure externally, they create some gaps where HR stuff,
Uh,
other stuff that I have for conversations with team members, or that might be very specific,
I
we
see.
weren't able to filter correctly. So, and we talked to their software team, their sales team, and they're like, no, we don't have this solved, and we don't have it on the roadmap. It's like, all right, cancel our plan,
Yep.
and we moved to Otter the next day.
Do you like it? I mean, does it do the same thing?
We're liking it better.
Okay.
Um, it integrates with Claude better. It works with Notion better for task management. There's a
Hmm.
lot of layers of AI we're putting into that for helping with project.
What's the cost delta look like? Is there one?
It's paid for. I don't know.
Uh,
The
yeah.
team took care of it. I think Fireflies was like $2,500 a year is what it was, and then I think there was maybe like 22. I think it is actually cheaper.
Got it. Yeah, I've had it recommended a couple times. So I definitely should take a look at that again. Probably not yet. We have much more important stuff to address, bigger
Yeah,
problems.
ours was forced because we're trying to build training data for sales calls and getting people access to a lot of stuff that I'm doing and how to segment that because there's also compliance with NIST that we need to hold where
Right.
people only get access to stuff they need. So while some of the stuff I didn't really care if other people saw doesn't follow NIST practice. So we want that in
Got it.
place.
Okay.
That's, I think that's the
Anything
bulk.
personal thing? You want to?
Seattle was great.
Yeah.
That's about it for me. I mean, well, Seattle was a portion of it. We went north to Bellingham,
Okay.
which is more my pace. It's Bellingham and Fairhaven. For any bike enthusiasts, that's where the Evil bike brand is manufactured. I found that out while we were walking around.
Never even heard
Really
of them.
cool manufacturing space, like sick building, cool showroom. It's just one of those manufacturing. I guess I ended up falling into some work without trying.
Yeah.
I didn't identify this,
Shop tour.
but
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to like justify it when you love it, right? And
yeah, that
um,
wasn't work though. Like
yeah,
it was one of those I'm literally walking by and I just start nerding out. Like it was fun. But overall it was very mountainous area up there. And so did some hiking and just kind of chilled out. We had no agenda the entire week. It was
that's
really
awesome.
what I wanted. We're like even we're in Seattle, like yeah, we knew we want to see certain things, but we didn't plan it or map it. We more or less just said we're putting our shoes on and we're going to walk that direction until we decide to change course.
Man, I have no idea how you went a decade without an actual vacation.
I mean, I've had vacations, Michael. Like I've been down to Turks and I've
Well,
done
I
other
know
trips,
the
but
quote unquote vacation you're talking about because I've done them.
yeah, but
Um,
it's like I end up like I'm all those trips I always woke up at least 5 in the morning to
oh my
get
God,
3 hours of work in before Amanda would get up because it had to get done. Or some contract would need revision and I'd
right?
spend 2 days in legal. Or it would be a customer has to have a new quote on something. And I would revise a quote and get it to them in a day like on vacation. Like that was what my vacations always used to look like for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
That wasn't the case. I actually didn't set an alarm and we just enjoyed the week.
yeah. Well, good for you. And you need to
So
do it again in like 6 months.
yeah, that's what the team's saying.
Yeah.
So well, I think we'll get something booked because I want to take Milo somewhere is what I want to do.
Yeah, we aim to do something, whether it's like a vacation or just like we do corporate retreats too, where we do work, but just to get away from everything. And kind of the aim is roughly half and half. But I mean, we're doing 4 or 5 minimum a year. Um, and I found like a lot of the biggest changes for like the direction of the company, the way I run the company, have come from having that like physical distance detachment, um, and like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong, or what's wrong with the process, because you can never really shut it off, right?
No, there was things that popped into my mind as we are walking that it was like, oh, I need to do that. There's probably 2 to 5 of those things that will have some significant, which are better than work for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What about? I mean, we doing anything fun this weekend?
Well, we're finishing up moving.
Oh,
Um,
you did end up
yeah,
selecting a spot to go to. That
it was
was
the
quick.
it was the first place. So like we liked our old place. Our landlord was an awesome guy. He's great.
That's half
And
the battle right there.
well, yeah, and like we're like, oh, a new place would be nice, like with a backyard and like not this like abysmally small, unusable kitchen. And and then we, you know, like just nearby saw something pop up, and it was the first place that we like actually toured. This was like a week after, maybe even less than the idea of moving out.
Isn't that
We
funny how
go there.
you start to question whether manifestation's real?
Uh, I don't know. I'm just like that, and it's like I wasn't looking, and then I was looking, and then um we like tried to get them to take an application, and they wouldn't do it because they had, the real estate agent just wants the least friction of whoever's already in the existing queue, right? Because they get their commission regardless.
Yeah.
Um, well, anyways, that person turned out to be a total nightmare to deal with. So then they came to us, and it was like, okay, a week later we're moving, which it's been a lot, especially on top of kind of a crazy month.
Yeah, I hate moving.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
We built our house with the plan of being here for like 30 years.
The place we moved to though it's a 2-minute drive away from where we were.
Oh,
So we were telling the movers just like, that cabinet full of like snacks, just cellophane wrap it and just drive it there, and if it breaks, it breaks. Like,
perfect.
yeah. So still unpacking. We still have like some little stuff we have to clear out of the old place and clean up a little bit, but that's it's been most of my spare time.
Nice. Okay. I mean, that happened really quick to find a backyard. You have a garage space too now. What, that was one of the other goals?
We had a garage before, but it turned out like you could get your car in, but you couldn't open the doors and get out of it. And I think it was built for like a Model T or something, like, before cars had gotten like a normal width. So it just
A
became
motorcycle
storage.
spot.
Yeah. And what's funny is the new place, it's actually the same deal, but it's a quote unquote 2-car garage. So like you could technically fit 2 cars, but again, you couldn't get out. So that becomes a 1-car garage plus some storage.
Got it.
but it is a garage.
Yeah, that's still great. Like,
Yeah.
do you actually, I mean, how many cars do you even need to store?
I have 2 cars and Priscilla has 1.
Okay, got it. Do you just park them at the shop then, or do you have like a storage space?
Yeah, I leave 1 at work.
Okay, yeah. I'm just curious. Like, LA, it's not like you want to just leave them on the street all the time.
No, it's gated and everything. I used to have like a car tent outside, and the landlord eventually made me get rid of it at the commercial property,
Okay.
which was a sad day because they were protected from the sun. But uh,
Yeah.
what can you do?
Lease a bigger space, pull them in.
Oh man,
I'm
just
joking.